Okay, something about this love story, I don't know how to describe it. What is it? Hey guys, it's Lily, and today I'm going to be doing a That Book review on Eleanor and Park. Obviously, I love this book. It was great, and this is a pretty big deal because I'm not a contemporary reader at all, and for me to say that I liked contemporary is a big deal. So on Goodreads, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but really it's a 4.5 out of 5 stars just because of one little thing that I just couldn't make it a 5. So make sure you go read Eleanor and Park so you can watch the spoilery section to find out why I gave it a 4.5 and not a 5. And if you've already read it, please stay tuned for the spoilery section. And moving on, I would give Eleanor and Park an A as a letter grade. It was really, really good. This is my first Rainbow Rowell book, and I am impressed and blown away, and I can't wait to read her other books.
I think I have a Landline and Fangirl by her right now. I saw Carry On in Barnes & Noble when I went yesterday. And I did get a book, and also when I was there, I was just in the contemporary mood because Rainbow Rowell put me in the contemporary mood, and I was looking at 3 books, Everything, The Problem with Forever, and Dreamology, and I literally stood there for half an hour because I couldn't pick which one I wanted. I ended up getting something totally different, and you guys will find that out in my monthly whatevers for July.
Okay, back to Eleanor and Park. Something about this love story, I don't know how to describe it, but I've never felt this ever before. In none of my fantasy dystopian books, I have never felt this. I don't know how to describe it. What is it? I sat there on the couch while I was reading this in chills. It was really, really good. And like the beginning to the halfway point, I would have to say it's definitely a 5 out of 5 stars or like a 6 out of 5 stars. But then the other half, I remember, it says, set over a course of 1 school year. This is a story of 2 star-crossed. I'll stop there because it's a star-crossed and we all know what that means. I mean, I read Romeo and Juliet this year and that's just sad. And I thought something really tragic was gonna happen because I kept asking this girl in my summer school health class, and I was like, is something tragic gonna happen, because she read it, and she said, no, just keep reading, Lily, I can't tell you anything. But obviously, definitely, this is, I want to say, like my #1 favorite contemporary book. I don't know, Anne and the French Kiss series was pretty good, and I haven't really read that many contemporaries, but something about this that I didn't even feel with Anne and the French Kiss, or Lola Went Next Door, or Isla and the Happily Ever After, or any of like Cassandra's books or any dystopian books that I have read. Something about this romance, the way that she describes it, the way that she writes it, is completely different, and I completely don't know what to do with myself. And lastly, I'm just going to give you like a quick kind of summary. I'm going to read the inside of this thingy of the sleeve, and then I might add a few things of my own words. My own words of wisdom.
2 misfits, 1 extraordinary love. Eleanor, redhead, wrong clothes. Standing behind him until he turns his head, lying beside him until he wakes up, making everyone else seem drabbier and flatter and never good enough. ... Eleanor. Park. He knows she'll love a song before he plays it for her. He laughs at her jokes before she gets to the punchline. There's a place on his chest, just below his throat, that makes her want to keep promises. ... Park.
So basically, they're just 2 separate people that meet on a school bus, and I think that's all I'm gonna say. It pretty much just goes off from there, and everything gradually happens, and then you're just like, whoa. Unlike being compared to Romeo and Juliet, I don't feel like this is Romeo and Juliet. The love is better than Romeo and Juliet in my opinion. This was way better. Way better. Go read this. 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really close to a 5 out of 5 stars. Now, we're gonna jump into the spoiler section so you can find out why it's a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And don't watch if you haven't read the book. Please go read it. This is just such an amazing book. You need to read it. You need to experience it. It's only like 325 pages. Only 325 pages. You can read this. I've read this less than 12 hours. So you can read this in 1 sitting. It's amazing. Go read it. We're gonna go on the spoiler section now. Okay? Bye! Let's get on with this. So, in the beginning, this is literally my first thought that I had while reading this book. I thought Tina and Steve were like Park, like, you know, punk rock, whatever. But then around the 6th chapter, I realized that they're not. They're like probably like the popular kids, and Park is just somehow connected to them. Tina starts like bullying Eleanor. I realized that they're completely different. They're just somehow connected. And I don't know, that was just my first observation about this book. And honestly, I wrote down what is wrong with Tina, because like, why is she being so mean to Eleanor? And then we find out that it's because, or probably because Tina and Parker, I keep saying Parker, Tina and Park were like a thing in 6th grade. But I did, okay, out of everything, I did like it when, right at the end, when we find out that Eleanor's stepdad is a creep, that Tina, like, you know, kind of brought her in with Steve, and they're like, it's okay, he won't find you here. But although they were like smoking and drinking, I don't know, I thought that was really nice of her, like, in desperate times. I guess goodness shows. And also, I love this line that Park says, if this keeps going on, this will become the weirdest night ever. There's a crow waddling across the street. I don't know why, but I like how Park is friends with Steve and Tina, because it kind of gives them like kudos and creds. I don't know, that just made me really happy that someone that's like popular would still be friends with someone like Park. Not like Park's like a dork or anything, but I mean, Eleanor thinks he is. But like someone who's not like into sports and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know if you already know, but I like to write books myself. I'm working on a few, but obviously they're not like I'm not trying. One of my goals as like a book idea and something that I could develop is to write a story where it's not like insta-lovey, where it's really realistic and gradual, and like where the boy and girl aren't perfect, but somehow they end up together.
And honestly, this book is the complete embodiment of that idea, and she did so well. Like, they just meet on the school bus, and they don't like each other at first, and just gradually like, little things happen, like reading the comic book and listening to music, and then things kind of ball into this bigger snowball, and then you got love. And I've always wanted to write something like this, and just reading something that I've always wanted to write, it was just amazing, and she did it so amazing. Like, I love her writing. And honestly, when he held her hand the first time, I was like shivering. It's just a bunch of like chills went through my body like over and over again. I was like, oh my god, and I was like breaking out in a cold sweat because I felt like it was happening to me. Like, that's how good this writing is. If you can feel everything, that's good writing. I also like how this isn't like cliche romance. It's not like between two popular people, or one is like super popular and the other one isn't, and you know what I mean? Like, this is two pretty normal, realistic teens. Eleanor worries about her physical appearance and being insignificant to Park. Park worries about his race and all that kind of stuff, and I can relate. And I can relate to both actually, which is why I really like this book. It just seems really realistic. The one thing I had a problem with the romance was that he held her hand, and then he was worried about the whole day, like, oh, I don't know, did I go too far? And how like she kind of ignored him throughout other classes. But then when they get back on the bus, she holds his hand. A lot of that kind of stuff happens where he does something, but then it'll seem like she completely hated it, and then she would return favor on the bus ride home. I don't know if that was there because she didn't really think about it, like reading it perfectly, or did she write it to kind of simulate the paranoia that we have when we give a gesture and they may not return it right away. Side note really quickly, in the book I read the words Nephilim, demons, and lesser demons. I'm sorry, but I can't help but think of Cassandra's books. Every single time I read a book, I always have to try, I don't try, but if I see something that just makes the slightest connection to Cassandra's books, I fangirl. Thinking about possible ways to like tell her that he liked it but not seeming like he cared. As a comment, I wrote, love is a brewin', I ain't just assuming, because it was pretty obvious that love was brewing. By chapter 9, I was totally shipping them, and he finds out that she doesn't have things to listen to, the songs that she wants to listen to, so he makes a mixtape that night, and I wrote, so cute. The beginning of chapter 17 is giving me butterflies, making me wish I had a park. I wish I had a park. Actually, I do. I have a park right across my house. It's really nice and big and green. Okay, I wrote chapter 21. It's so frustrating, but at the same time, I get it. I think I was referring to how she was feeling like she was insignificant to him, kind of doubting their relationship and being like, what is it that you love about me? Why are you with me? Like, all these things, like, why am I really good enough for you? I feel like nothing compared to you. It was just frustrating on like the aesthetically pleasing side, but it's totally real and I totally get it. But there was a point I feel like it was getting kind of excessive, like the excuse of not feeling good enough. I feel like I was used to an excessive point where it got really frustrating in the second half of the book, which is kind of like it contributed to the reason why I gave it a 4.5. And when Park finally stood up for her, like disregarding like what he would think afterwards, like people might judge him being with Eleanor, disregarding all of that, how he stood up for her when Tina and Steve were kind of like making the bus chant, go big red, and how like Park just couldn't take it anymore and he just had to take out his anger. Like, I wish I had a Park. I wish I had a Park. I wish I had a Park. I have this kind of thing with his dad, Park's dad. He was kind of, you know, B-wordy and A-wordy in the beginning about this whole stick shift thing, but then when he got in the fight afterwards, his dad was like, I don't know, like a dad that I would love to have, supporting him no matter what, even if Eleanor is a little weird, like if he really loves her, then he should be able to be with her, and like talking his mom into this and all that. And then after he starts wearing like eyeliner, his dad goes back to the whole stick shift dad and away from loving dad and the caring dad. But then when Eleanor is in trouble, he like totally understands that Richie's a weirdo and supports him. So like there's a lot of back and forth. But overall, I think I liked his dad. I just wish he wasn't so isolative. I don't think that's a word. Overall, let's say I liked his dad. By the end of chapter 24, I asked, why is Eleanor's mom still with Richie? I mean, obviously he's not a great husband. Why does she agree to marry him? And I know like this is pretty much an abusive relationship, and abusive relationships can be really hard to get out of. Sometimes people have to change their identities just to be safe. But I don't know, because Eleanor doesn't really talk about how abusive it is. You know, I don't know, like, and we'll talk about the heavy reason of why I gave it a 4.5. Kind of ties into the whole Richie being a creep. He's writing these creepy ass notes to Eleanor in her textbook, so she has to run away. And I know Richie is abusive, he's scary, it could be dangerous just to not run away. But at the same time, I feel like that situation could have been fixed by the police, you know what I mean? Instead of running all the way to whatever state she was going to where her uncle lives in, she could have just went to Park's house. They could have called the cops. He didn't really do anything wrong, but they could have found a way to like restrain him or whatever. Like, I don't know the law completely, but I feel like running away wasn't the only answer. You can only compare it to this saying that I learned in my summer school health, where my teacher said that committing suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem, which could be like bullying. I feel like running away was an over-exaggerated solution to not a simple problem, but not complicated either. I feel like this just caused excessive problems and conflict and drama. I wanted her to turn around, because I have to be honest, I don't really like Eleanor. I favor Park in this book. My heart hurts for him more than it hurts for her. She didn't even send anything back for a whole year. I mean, if I was in her situation, obviously the first month I would need time to recuperate and recover, but I don't think it would take me a whole year to finally send him something back. And I don't think she deserves him in the end if she waited for a whole year. If I was Park, I may have smiled at the postcard at first, but then I'd be mad. Kind of like, as much as Magnus loves Alec, he can't accept what he did to him, and you know, as much as he loves him, he has to break it off because it's not fair to Magnus. And this is kind of like how I feel with Eleanor and Park. Like, as much as Park can love her back and how much she can love him, I don't feel like if I was him, I would be like running with open arms right away. I would need time to understand my feelings again. Sorry to say, I know you can't fight fire with fire, but I would want to do the same thing back to her. Like, maybe not send her anything back for a whole year or something, even though that would probably hurt me too. But I don't know, and the fact that he has said I love you 3 times to her, she never said it out loud to him. Like, she could have possibly said at the end, because at the end it had a postcard with only 3 words. It could have been I love you. Who knows? It could have been cats hate dogs, dogs hate cats, apples are red. You don't know what those 3 words could have been. Like we all know that Eleanor loves Park, obviously, but I feel like making it official is saying that I love you and meaning it. Second half of the book wasn't as great as the first half, but it wasn't bad either. My heart hurt so bad for Park at the end. I didn't really care about what Eleanor thought, just like how he was dealing with it and how he like hoped for letters and stuff. How could she let her selfish feelings of insignificancy, she should have thought about Park and how he would have felt and just sent him something back, not a year later, but like freaking a month later. Okay, I think I'm done ranting about this, but that's why I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And I didn't cry during the book. I did get teary-eyed after the book. I'm actually getting teary-eyed right now because I feel so bad for Park. Like, he deserves someone who thought about him too. But overall, the book was good, and this is pretty much all I have to say. I'm not gonna keep going or else I'm gonna start crying. Definitely would recommend this to someone. This is my summer reading for English, so I am very happy about it. And my next one is Throne of Glass, and I'm already 48% into it, and I started reading it last night. Whoop whoop! So yeah, that's all for guys today. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day, afternoon, wherever you are. Bye! Today I'm going to be doing a talk video for you guys.
So go ahead and get your favorite cup of tea and your favorite mug, and why not go ahead and snuggle with your favorite book. That's how I do comfortable.
I came up with this new series, and it's going to be called How I Deal, where I tell you how I deal with a certain situation.
You're buying books online, when you got a little too many and you gotta eliminate